Beloved JJ, Justin Jefferson, with a post-New Deal press conference coming up probably within the next 5 minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes from now. And, of course, you will hear it on everything that is funky and fun, the 9 to noon radio show, and FM 100.3 KFAN, your more than 2-decade home for Minnesota Vikings football. And once Justin gets in front of the microphone, we will take this little slider, fire that mug up, and you'll be able to hear JJ. See, I'd like to play 19 seconds of this, but if I played 21, Jay Nelson and Jordan Struck would lose their jobs. They're that particular about it, but you know what? They could pull it out of the Gabe Henderson podcast. Let me whisk through something for a second that I wrote down as kind of an ancillary piece, and you know, honestly didn't really think we'd have time to get to it, but in this little buffer time, what's for Ode to a Dead Guy? Dan will do segments. I believe they're called Ode to a Dead Guy.
Yeah,
and you know, he'll celebrate and rhapsodize or share memories of somebody of prominence who is part of the dearly departed. Well, that would include a man named Larry Allen for yours truly. And why I bring it up is simply because there, in my travels, in my 58 years on God's earth, there have been some athletes that I've come across. You know, this Larry Allen would be one, Christian Okoye would be another, where well before I got into sports radio, or well before God decided I'm going to be a play-by-play announcer in the National Football League, despite no experience, I was still a sports fan. And when I started calling horse races in Northern California, my first year was at a track called Bay Meadows, which no longer exists. It was 1993. And, you know, I started in August at the Bay Meadows Fair. And, you know, then I would call races there, you know, up until about April, and eventually jump in the Sanford and Son mobile and head to Shakopee. But in my first year there, moving from the Los Angeles area to just south of San Francisco for my first racetrack announcing year in 1993, I had some friends of mine, one who was an alum of Sonoma State University, which is over the Golden Gate Bridge up by Napa County, wine country. It's about probably was about an hour and 20 minutes from where San Mateo is. And I went to this Sonoma State football game, and I had no idea what Sonoma State was. I didn't know any of their players, but I watched this offensive lineman who went to Compton High School. And this is before phones, so like the Google machine's not in play, nothing like that. But, you know, I just, my man knew a lot about the football team, Sonoma State University. And the guy's name was Larry Allen. And I'm like, watching Larry Allen run around against Cal State Hayward or schools that level, it was Michael Orr in Blindside before Michael Orr was in Blindside. I mean, that's exactly what it was like. I mean, he was a massive, massive man, God rest his soul, because he died at the age of 52. And, you know, I think Larry went like 6'3", like 330, 340, something like that. But when you watch him run around a bunch of Bob Cousies at that level of football, it was a sight to behold. And so then I kind of followed him from there. And he was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys the next year. And Larry Allen became a 2013 Hall of Famer. And he went on to become one of the best guards in the history of the National Football League. And what's interesting about Larry is when he was growing up in Compton, in Southern California, in city of Compton, how about this? Larry, when he was like, I think it was a month and a half, 2 months old, my man almost died due to meningitis. All right. So the family had that problem out of the gate. Well, he overcomes it because Larry overcame a lot. And then when he was 10 years of age, a neighbor, I believe in Compton, was attacking his brother. So Larry, at age 10, all right, he's a 10-year-old man, but he's still probably pretty big and or imposing, but he's still only 10. He was stabbed 12 times in the head and shoulder defending his brother. So Larry Allen's story, and I knew the stabbing part. I've known that for quite some time. I didn't know about the meningitis part until I read up on it last night. And, may God rest the soul of Larry Allen, gone at the age of 52, gone but not forgotten, ode to a dead guy, whatever it is. He only played a couple of years at Sonoma State. We had some studying problems or some scholastic problems where he kept bouncing around. And he ended up becoming a 2013 National Pro Football Hall of Famer. And so what an unbelievable story for him. But I'll just never forget that 1993 day when I ended up at a Sonoma State football game watching this big man just crush and dominate everything at the D2, D3 level. And I couldn't figure out why he played there, but then eventually I learned why. And for Larry to die at 52, that kind of saddens me a little bit. I followed his career pretty closely, and it also reminded me because years before that, I'd say 10, 11, 12 years before that, when I was in high school, there was a Christian school by where I lived in Covina, California, named Azusa Pacific University, APU. And there was a lot of buzz about this Nigerian running back who ended up at Azusa Pacific University by the name of Christian Okoye. So I went and watched him play at least 4 times. And, I've never seen, like Antoine Randall, when he played at Indiana for the Hoosiers, he's one of the most dynamic, exciting, multifaceted, versatile football players I've ever seen in my life at the college level. And my man did throw a touchdown pass to Hines Ward in a Super Bowl. Like Antoine Randall played quarterback, wide receiver, running back, defensive back, kick and punt returner. He was everything. Kind of like Devin Hester, the Cane, when he played wide receiver and safety. But to watch the dominance of a Christian Okoye when he played at Azusa Pacific University, again, against a bunch of Bob Cousies. A bunch of 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot guys who just at the NAIA level had no chance against Christian. And it was Michael Lohr before Michael Lohr was Michael Lohr in Blindside. And, when I caught wind of the Larry Allen death, it caused me to rethink about some of these players that I've seen over the years, not necessarily in person at the National Football League level, because it all comes out in the wash. It evens itself out the more they grow and the farther along they mature. Hold on. No pressure yet. And so at that level, you're going to see certain players who like Ray Edwards was unbelievably cut. Daniil Hunter, Adrian Peterson, just physical specimens. But it didn't mean they would dominate play after play after play after play after play like Okoye at Azusa Pacific or Larry Allen, at Sonoma State University. Now, when I saw Patrick Mahomes in person for the first time, it was 2019, and the Vikings would lose to the Chiefs that day. I think Matt Moore was the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, filling in for Mahomes. And Damian Williams had like a 90-yard touchdown run, and he was just fast as bleep on that run. Tight game, tightly contested game, and the Vikings would lose the game. But pregame, I'm on the sideline about ready to chat with Muss for Vikings Football Sunday at like 10 a.m., and Muss comes to me with a question, and I'm just like looking at Patrick Mahomes 5 feet away from me going, I can't believe how big this guy is. Good Lord. This is a quarterback. Holy cow. So I guess Mahomes would be that way for me a little bit, in that I'd seen him on TV 8 million times, and I've seen him win a Super Bowl, and I know he's good and I know he's big, but really until you see like the hips and the legs and just the way the man is constructed, I don't things don't awe-inspire me from a sports standpoint the way they used to, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, like Larry Allen or Christian Okoye related. But Patrick Mahomes did. And Adrian Peterson did too when I first saw him in 2007. I just couldn't believe that muscles were made that way. But then again, I'm somebody who hasn't felt his ribs in 30 years, so it's probably I'm easily astounded by stuff like that. But May God rest the soul of Larry Allen, gone way too young at the age 52. And what triggered it for me was Hall of Fame guard Steve Hutchinson when I was looking at Twitter last night after the Canterbury Chapel, and Hutch had a really, really nice tweet about Larry Allen. I'm like, no, there goes Larry, poor Larry. So then I started reading up on him a little bit, remembering that game I went to, and he, for the new schoolers or for those who just know the name of a Super Bowl winner and a 2013 Hall of Famer, Larry Allen was real deal Holyfield, man. I mean, he just, for the Dallas Cowboys, he was part of an offensive line that was so super imposing for X amount of years. And he was just quite distinguishable for me because of his path. And, there are lessons to come out of that path. It's like, if you're downtrodden, down and out, feel like you don't have a shot. Larry just kept persevering from when he almost died of meningitis at like 2.5 months or whatever it was, a month and a half old, through 12. He got stabbed in the head and the shoulder 12 times by an intruder or a neighbor trying to beat up his brother. And then he bounced around with schools and stuff like that, ended up at something called Sonoma State University, and ended up going to the Hall of Fame. So not everybody's story is written or told the same way. And, not every dot is connected the same way. Here comes JJ.
Looking right here, one.
All right, we got O'Connell, JJ, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, and President and co-owner Mark Wilf taking some pictures right now. Justin with hair pulled back, big old smile. Justin has a wonderful smile. And we're about ready to begin this little bad boy right now. I think Kevin O'Connell may be speaking first, or is it going to go right? No, it's going to be Kwesi. All right, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, then he's JJ.
Good morning. Obviously, we've had a pretty big offseason, but this move was something that was foundational to everything we're going to be as a team this season and going forward. So I'm just really honored to be here to celebrate such a momentous day for this occasion, for this organization, but for Justin also and his family. I can only imagine the pride, John, Elaine, Jordan, Ricky, who's not here right now, feel right now, in addition to the community that helped raise Justin to be the player and person that he is. Me always start off with a little gratitude, so I'm going to thank some people who were pretty instrumental in this getting done. First, always starts off with the Wilfs and our great ownership group for creating the family atmosphere here that people want to be a part of, the facilities, the A-class way we treat people, and also the resource to compete at a championship level. We don't take that for granted in any type of way. All the people in the football operation, player personnel that were involved in bringing Justin here, some here, some still not. I think they deserve a lot of credit, obviously, for identifying such a talented generational type player. All the coaches and football ops staff that help Justin on a day-to-day basis and make him one of the great players in the NFL. Obviously, with special shout out to Keenan McCardell. I remember when I first got here, I'm texting trying to meet these guys and learn, and Justin texts me. He's like, "Hey man, I'm not that type of guy. I don't ask for anything, but I'd really like to work with Coach McCardell. He pushes me to be great." And I think that says a lot about not just his coach, but about Justin, the types of things that he wants for his career. Obviously, I want to thank Rob, his relationship-based approach to negotiating is really helpful in these matters, and obviously his experience, his tireless work ethic. Emily, who does a lot of work behind the scenes, just instrumental in getting this done. I'd also like to thank Ben Renzen and the WME team, obviously, for continually coming back to the table. We claim to be solutions oriented here, but that takes two. That takes people willing to show up to the table. And obviously some doors get closed, but every time we came back, and we're always optimistic that we'd be here, trying new solutions, trying different structures, different things like that, because ultimately a contract is a creative way of coming up with a solution between two parties, and we were able to do that. KO, obviously, for, showing us the vision of what this offense can be with a dynamic playmaker like Justin, just continuing our partnership and everything we've built here to continue to build a culture that people want to be a part of, but also a play style and a scheme and how we want to go about doing things on the field. And lastly, I want to thank Jets. I think it almost feels like yesterday. It was 2 years ago. I was walking into the building for one of the first times where I met you for the first time, and I think another player was going through a contract negotiation, and I think it was messy. And I joked, "We'll get ours done in 2 seconds." That was the confidence of a 1-month GM, I think. But I've learned a lot, since then, obviously. But I've learned a lot about who he is as a person. Everybody has their favorite Justin Jefferson moment, favorite play that comes to mind. Mine's probably not the same one that comes to your guys' mind. Mine's probably the play before one of the plays. I think everybody remembers that third and long catch against Detroit last year. But I remember the play before the third and long catch where we had a fumble and he sprints back to the other side of the field, desperately recovers the ball so that we have another chance to snap the ball. And so a lot of players, a lot of people talk about winning and what that means, and that's lip service. But when you go out in the field and show it in that way, that's something I always remember. I think I told you after the game, hopefully from there, when the gold jacket gets fit, we'll see. But that's the one I'll tell my kids that I got to see, that I was around. So ultimately, when you have moments like that in your mind, and you know how he contributes to our culture, the joy, the positivity, all that stuff, this day was going to come. There was never a second in my mind that we weren't going to be here. Obviously, you have to navigate challenges and things like that, but this was always our purpose, and just really glad to be here on this day to celebrate this occasion. KO.
Yeah, this is a really, really exciting day. It is excellent to be here with you guys. A monumental day for Justin and his family, the Vikings organization, and really our fan base. Not sure that there is a player in our league with the type of relationship with a fan base that Justin has with ours. I know it means a lot to you, Jets, and it certainly means a lot to me to be the head coach of this team and get to keep coaching you for a really long time, man. And to be able to extend Justin, I truly think he's one of the brightest stars in all of professional sports. I've been on record saying that, and it was really critical for our franchise and for me as the head coach and for our offense and really for our entire team, the heart and soul of our team on a daily basis. Justin fits everything that we want to be about and continue to build in this building. Justin and mine, the bond that we have has meant the absolute world to me from day one. Getting a chance to build a relationship with a player like Justin, a person like Justin who's been raised the right way, loves this game, loves his teammates, loves everything about the process of becoming and maintaining his status as the best in football at what he does. And there's all the things that people don't see that we get to see on a daily basis is what this day is really all about. He means the world to that locker room. Even today, seeing him back around his teammates, yesterday back around his teammates, he's a people changer. He's a culture changer, and he's everything about, like I said, what we want this organization to be about. This day really is also about Justin for another reason. Being a first-round pick in the tough circumstances that surrounded kind of the draft through the difficult times of COVID we all went through, Justin never really got this day. He never really got the day with his family to be here and be recognized as he should have been in that moment. Despite that, he was able to still go out and have one of the more remarkable starts to a career that our game has really seen, especially at the receiver position. So today is also about that, for making up for time lost and really experiences lost that day. And we sure hope that this day, obviously special for Justin and his family. We look back on that and very, very fortunate that Justin became a Minnesota Viking. I want to say a quick thank you to John and Elaine, Jordan as well, It's been awesome getting to know you guys and knowing, I think you guys feel how important Justin is to our team and our community, but watching the way the Jefferson family has embraced the Twin Cities as well, and me getting to come here and lead this organization, your guys' support has always been huge. Mark Wolf, obviously the whole Wolf family, the support we get from ownership is second to none, and it allows us to truly continue to feel like what we're building here is backed by the best resources in football, a daily goal to try to strive to be the best versions of ourselves, and this building can only be done when we have great ownership, willing to do that on a daily basis. Kwesi, to you and Rob, just the countless, the unbelievable amount of time and energy, understanding the importance of what's taking place today, and more importantly, what will take place over many, many years to come, and being able to find a way to maintain relationships, do things with class, communicate at a world-class level, and ultimately get us to where we are today. Looking ahead, I know Justin's going to continue to bring his passion and energy. It's a huge part of the commitment that we so desperately wanted to make to him, and him to this organization is much more than just I think about the 3rd and 18 versus the Bills. That's just me. But I do remember that play as well. There's been many from our first drive, against Green Bay in 2022 when we capped it off with a touchdown to Justin to start what was a historic season for him that year, to overcoming some adversity together side by side, and watching him still achieve the feat of being a 1,000-yard receiver despite so many circumstances stacked against him last year only made us all stronger. Justin, I know it's only going to make you stronger as we continue to build together. And with that, together, we will bring out the best in each other, man. The same goals that you and I, really the same goal you and I have had since day one. In addition to all the individual feats you've been able to accomplish, the joy I've had coaching, we're still chasing a world championship together with your lead. I look forward to watch you continue to grow into the leader of this team and setting a standard at a world-class level for the rest of your teammates and coaches and myself to be right there alongside with you as we get to go do this thing. So with that, nothing brings me more joy than to introduce Justin Jefferson to you guys.
Finally back. Definitely excited to be back. Definitely have to say the shout out to the Lord, to God. Without him, this definitely wouldn't be possible at all. For him to be putting me in different situations and for me to overcome every situation that he has been putting me through. Of course, shout out to my parents, shout out to Jordan, shout out to Ricky, and shout out to all of my family members. I've had a great support system in every single thing that I do, from the time that I was a little kid to now being in the league and playing professionally. And they've been here every step of the way, and I cannot ask for any better family members than I have. Of course, shout out to Kwesi, shout out to KO, shout out to the Wilfs for giving me this opportunity. This is a blessing. This is something I've been waiting for a long time. Not only just the money standpoint, but just setting my family up for generations and for the longest I can live. Just to be given this opportunity to be playing at the highest level, to have a contract that will set me up for the life I live, and just to be playing for this organization. There's nothing wrong with this organization at all. I love every single thing about it, from the fan base to the coaches, to the teammates, to the owners that support this organization. Everything has been phenomenal. There's no complaints that I can really say. Shout out to Ben, my agent, for getting this deal done. This is definitely a back and forth deal that we've been going through for a while now, but just like Kwesi said, we knew that this deal was going to be done. It was just all about the time, all about getting to the right numbers and what I deserve. So this is definitely, just like I've been saying, this is the start of a lot. This is something that I've been waiting for, and now being the leader of this team and, carrying myself a different way. Just like I told him, I'm going to be on everyone, but I'm going to be on, everyone hard, and I'm going to make sure that I'm the leader of this team, and, we're working to where we want to go, which is a world championship. So I'm excited. I'm excited for my family, excited for my friends, excited for all of the people that supported me. But yeah, we're definitely just getting started, and we got a lot of work to do. But thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. But I got some work to do, so let's wrap this up. Any questions?
Justin, you talked a lot about your family. Can you recall any specific memories of when you were growing up of maybe telling your mom or your dad that you were going to play in the NFL, or envisioning this for yourself?
I mean, I've been saying this since I was pretty much 8, 9 years old. Having two of the brothers that come before me, I got to really see everything before I can even touch a football. So just having two of the brothers to really teach me everything that I needed to learn, from, just getting stronger, just doing push-ups at 3 years old, to, actually being able to throw a football and catch a football. So that dream always been there for me. That vision always been there for me. I was always a big dreamer and always a person to overcome different things and try to be the best person or best kid that I could be, and now to have all of those things installed in my brain, from them teaching me how to become a better person, better man, from my brothers teaching me how to become a better player on the field. So it's definitely many things that went in towards me being this type of player. Of course, I can name a whole bunch of different coaches that came through my life that turned everything around for me, but that'll be a long list. So,
Justin, you kind of connected the contract to kind of your status as the leader of the team. I guess what in your mind connects one to the other in terms of being the leader and being the highest paid?
Just being the highest paid just comes with being a leader. But I always preached it. The money never was a big thing for me. It was mostly about just solidifying myself as the top receiver in the league. Of course, I want to be holding that gold jacket when the season is over. When my career is all over with. So, it's going to happen. The contract talks are going to happen when you're performing at this type of level. But just like I've said plenty of times, it's more to it than just the money for me. I want to be the best player to ever do it. So in order to do that, I got to keep performing at my highest ability. And, with that, money is going to be involved. But that wasn't my main concern.
Did you take into account, if at all, who the quarterback is going to be here? And what are your thoughts on J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah, I feel like, just with last year's, just with all of the things that happened, all of the quarterback changes that happened, that really didn't really affect me that much. It really didn't matter who was going to be able to throw the ball. I'm always confident in myself and confident in who's throwing the ball to give me those type of opportunities and let me just go make a play for the team. I've talked to JJ as soon as he got drafted. I told him confidence is key. Just coming into this league with confidence and being able to have that leadership just right off the bat, being a rookie. There's going to be people to come and help. Of course, I'm going to be that main person to be in this ear and try to teach him and try to prepare him for what we're about to go through. But I told him this league is tough. It's not an easy job to come out here and perform at the highest ability, especially as a rookie. But I definitely will be that main person that he can lean on and help throughout the way.
What different do you think that's going to be for you after all those years with Kirk, just now having to kind of guide the quarterback as opposed to leading them?
It comes with it, it comes with just being the leader of the team. Of course, having Kirk was a little bit more easier, him being a veteran and, me pretty much coming into the league with him as my quarterback, things were a lot easier. But of course, things are not always going to be that type of way. There's things that's going to change, and you can't really look back on the past and dwell on that. So, of course, having JJ into the building, a new energy, a new soul. I mean, I love his confidence. I love his attitude, and of course, him coming off a championship, you can't have any more confidence than that. So that confidence is going to continue to be with him. It's just my job to really install that into his brain throughout the whole entire season, and of course, give him that extra confidence by throwing me the ball.
Justin, you've always been good about keeping your focus on football and not letting the negotiations bother you. But how relieved are you that it's not only done before training camp, but even now before minicamp, that you can just play free?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it never really was that big of a concern for me. Just like I said, we knew that the deal was going to be done eventually. It's just all a matter of when. But football is my main priority. Football is what got me here. Just the love of the game, just being able to feel like a kid waking up in the morning, excited for those Sunday games and going out there and just killing it. And that it just feels like a kid, just having that joy for the game, having that excitement. But, of course, the contract comes with the game. And I'm just excited to finally be done with it, finally move on, and finally, try to reach a goal that we all are trying to reach.
You're listening live to the Justin Jefferson press conference right here on your home for Vikings football, The Fan.
Basketball on turf?
I mean, we need to ask this man to the left right here. But I mean, we have a whole bunch of different weapons on our offense. Just getting Aaron Jones into this offense with his ability to run the ball and being able to be explosive. I mean, it just goes back to having Dalvin Cook back on this offense. So having that same type of mindset, having that same type of similarity, I feel like he's going to do fantastic with us, and we definitely have a lot of weapons on our offensive side. So we're going to be trying to give a whole bunch of people the ball.
How tough was last year for you, and even going through all the contract things? Did that factor in at all, and how excited are you to put all that behind you now?
Yeah, it definitely was a little tough. Just being out for 9 weeks. Not really being that type of person to really miss games and be on the injury list. So it definitely was a different course for me. But just being prayed up, just believing in what I have to do, believing in the training staff to really get me back on my feet and where I would like to be. But just having the support system, around me, that definitely helped out a lot. Of course, the contract talks was in play, especially during my injury, on whether I should sit out or how I should go about my business. Those type of talks wasn't really effective. I kind of knew what my ability was. I already knew, that contract was going to come eventually. It was just mostly about getting back to my team. Of course, we were trying to win the championship and get to the playoffs. So that was mostly my main priority. Not really about the money, not really about after the season. It's just about being in the present, trying to be there for my teammates, for my coaches, and also, for my family. They're worried about me being on injury, something that I'm not used to. But having them around and talking to them throughout my process of getting back, to then finally getting back and finishing off the season strong, it definitely was a great end to a season that I didn't want.
Justin, why do you think you were so overlooked coming out of high school?
It had a little bit to do with grades, a little bit to do with just not being fully developed. I was very small, not really being that big, not really that fast, not explosive like I am now. So I definitely had times where I complained at my parents and stuff for not being the biggest, not being the strongest, what I'm going to do, or, what I'm saying, just things a little kid thinks about when he's growing and growing into his body. And I really had to be patient about that, seeing what my oldest brother went through, hearing the different stories that my parents was telling me that he had to go through the same thing I had to go through. So it was just all about being patient, all about just staying the course and working my butt off. And then once I seen that I had that type of skill set, once I seen that I had the ability to go out there and play football at the highest level, that's when the confidence started to come in. That's when I started to be Jets. That's when I started to have that ego. That's when I started to have that confidence that, it don't matter who's going to stand from me. I'm going to do whatever I need to do.
Because when you look at the totality of this offseason with your contract and some of the other moves, you guys, Aaron Jones, and talk about the quarterback, like where do you think the organization is sort of direction of the organization is now moving forward after we get through this deal here?
Yeah, I feel like we're on a great path. Just with locking me in for 5 more years, I've been telling all of them they're going to get the best out of me. Every single practice, every single game, I'm going to try to be the best person that I can be. Of course, being the leader of this team, I got to carry on with the rest of the team right behind me. So just getting everybody on that same goal, on that same mindset, to have that confidence every time we step on the field. And this is a long season. It's not easy to win in this league. Everybody got to be mentally prepared, confident to go into every single game, ready to go. But it starts now. It starts now at training camp. It starts now when we go into the training camp in August and getting ready for the season. We all have to be on the same page, and it starts with me, just getting the guys ready.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank y'all.
That's Justin Jefferson addressing the media. Welcome back to JJ, the 4-year extension, 140 total million, 110 million guaranteed with the media, along with comments from the head coach Kevin O'Connell and the general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. We'll react to that and put a wrap on 9 to noon live, Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center in Eagan. It's the Fan.
Ain't nothing I can say, nothing I can do. I feel so bad, yeah, I feel so blue.
What's going on, Double B?
What's happening?
Yeah, thanks for helping today. Everything good?
Everything's great. Congrats to your squad. Big extension.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. As a Green Bay Packers fan, how do you view Justin Jefferson?
I mean, he's the elite of the elite. He's one of the best receivers in the game, if not the best. And if you're going to spend big on a receiver, now's the time when you're going to have a rookie contract quarterback for the next handful of years. So it all timed out well for your squad.
Well, when I learned you were going to be assisting for the final 20-25 minutes, I booked Russo Radio because I know you enjoy his commentary. But I also didn't know Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, Kevin O'Connell were going to speak ahead of Justin, so the press conference went a little longer than I thought it would. And Michael needs proper time to, among other things, set up the Stanley Cup and also chat about some Minnesota Wild-related activity and festivities. So Russo Radio will be 9 to noon tomorrow, exactly at this time, probably starting about 11:35. So we've had a late change in the ladies and gentlemen. We have some changes to your radio program. In the 5th race, Brett Blakemore should be listed as a gelding. And in the 8th race, Russo Radio has been moved to Wednesday, where we will have an interview with Justin Jefferson. I'm going to run down the young man, or attempt to run him down after practice today and chat with him for a little bit. So look forward to that tomorrow, if you are so inclined, a chat between yours truly and Justin Jefferson. And Thursday, we open the show with Chris Finch. Chris is nice enough to come into studio to amplify the 9 to noon project and chat about decompress, so to speak, from what transpired last Friday, and just chat with 9 to noon about where they were, where they are, and where they're going. So a couple of luminaries to look forward to 9 to noon. Beginning tomorrow, right out of the gate, we'll play back that Justin Jefferson interview. Now, Double B, I know you follow hockey. I don't know how much of the playoffs you've been watching. I haven't watched a ton of the Stanley Cup playoffs because the Wolves just captured the imagination so deeply, and thus I would watch a fair amount of the NBA playoffs just because I was so bit by the Wolves. But now we're set with Florida and Edmonton. Do you have an opinion as to who wins the Stanley Cup and why?
I lean towards the Panthers, but the thing that I like the most is that this is going to be such an entertaining series. I mean, McDavid getting to the Cup Finals for the first time, especially since Edmonton has never figured out the goaltending position ever, and yet still him and Draisaitl can pull that team to the Stanley Cup Finals. There's a lot of skill to go around in this series. So if anything, it'll be entertaining, but I give the edge to Florida probably in 6.
And with McDazzle doing what he did in that last game, and I'm sure you either saw it live or saw it via highlights. I mean, the stick handling in a congested situation by the net, the way he was just moving around stars and stuff, and he scored. I mean, it was phenomenal. And he's obviously a phenomenal player, but, I'm not saying flavor of the day, week, or month, because everybody has known Connor McDavid is unbelievable since the minute he walked into the league. But either, whether it's NHL Network or watching some of the games, listening to the Vox or the analyst, do you think Connor McDavid is the best player in the NHL? I mean, like, best overall player.
I think he might be the best player ever. I mean, he's that good, man.
But what about Nathan McKinnon?
I mean, obviously not from a points perspective. Gretzky, don't come after me. But McKinnon's really good. I mean, again, McKinnon's been there, done that as far as Stanley Cups, but McDavid just from a pure skill and technique and speed. Yeah. I mean, he's got all the intangibles you want. And the fact that, I mean, Edmonton isn't, if you look at their lines, it's not like they're a whole bunch of world beaters. You got Draisaitl and McDavid, but you've got guys like Evander Kane and Corey Perry, who is still somehow in the league. I mean, and McDavid continues to pull that team to, he's been to, I think, several Western Conference finals, and this is his first Stanley Cup finals. Never had a star goalie. So I think that is a credit to Draisaitl and mostly McDavid.
Yeah, I like how you laid that out. And so, like, Austin Matthews is, like, nowhere close to this conversation anymore?
I mean, he's an all-star. He's a superstar. But as far as, like, the best player in the game, I think he's in, if you're doing those tier lists you see online, he's not S tier. He's probably high A tier, which is slightly below that. But Austin Matthews is great, and I'm going to be his biggest cheerleader when the Olympics come around.
Right, and I think you see what I'm getting at here is, whether it's McDavid or McKinnon or Matthews and those Maple Leafs, they just never get to the level people think they should get because of the depth of talent they seemingly always have. And, just remember John Tavares, how hyped he was when he joined the New York Islanders. I mean, it's at a very young age. I mean, you draft them, and generally, like baseball in the NHL, you got to wait a little while for them to emerge. But that was not the case with Tavares or Connor Bedard. And the point I'm getting at here is, like, when McKinnon was winning the Cup, I mean, I probably heard no fewer than 20 times, best overall player in the NHL. All right. Well, now it's McDavid. I'm hearing the same thing. Like Bedard and Tavares, and forget Matthews for a second, but like with Tavares, is not close. Bedard's super young. It's we haven't heard best overall in the game, but that there are these players that are coming into the NHL, and they're so super hyped. It's nearly impossible to get to the level of the hype. Obviously McDazzle and McKinnon have. Matthews, I would say, you'd probably know more about it than me. He's gotten close. But it like football is such a team game where, you need so much to happen just to score one goal. But that's why I was just wondering is, like, we've always known McDavid is super good. but it's now that he's going to get the exposure that he really never has received, Stanley Cup exposure. Plus he plays in Edmonton, and unless you're up at 10, 10:30, 11:30 at night for those games, you probably ain't watching a ton. So, you're just relying on highlights, or most people are, highlights, and following him from afar. I just want to make sure with the stuff that I'm hearing before I get into this Russo conversation tomorrow that, yeah, I know McDavid is elite, but, we're not far removed from hearing Nathan McKinnon best player in the NHL. You feel me on all this?
No, I completely get that. I think as far as hype goes, I remember hearing, man, this makes me sound old, but I remember hearing about McDavid when he was like 15, 16, speaking of hype. He was that like generational, this kid's going to be special. This is the next Crosby. And as far as just purely on ice for what he can control, he's lived up to it. Unfortunately, the teams he's been on hasn't been very good. And as far as Matthews goes, I think it can be boiled down to this playoff format that the NHL has, where they run into Boston every single year in the first round.
Right.
And if they had a 1-8, like they should, I think the Leafs would probably go a little bit further. But, even looking at their line combinations, Matthews is on their third line. That's how good the Leafs are right now, because Domi and Tavares are their top two centers. So,
right.
Yeah. That team's really good.
So Tavares is getting along well?
He is. He's not the same get on my back and I'll carry you that he was in New York, but he's still a valuable piece. He's centering our guy, Matthew Nye, is one of us. So, so he's still getting along, but they've got so many. I can look at this line combination and 6 of them would be on our, maybe 7 or 8 would be on our top line with Kaprizov. So,
well, and so like Kirill, all right, 3-2, Kirill Kaprizov. When he's described as one of the best overall in the NHL, it's the one of the is super key. Mm-hmm. But, we just rattled off a bunch of players there. I just, with where Kirill is in his career, is he considered top 10, top 15-ish player in the NHL, or has that fallen off?
I'm the biggest Kirill cheerleader there is. I'm a huge Kirill apologist, so I would probably put him lower A tier if you go back to that tier list I was talking about earlier. The problem is when you commit, and again, beating a dead horse here, when you commit, if you look at the Leafs, they have skill top to bottom, and yes, they got bounced in the first round, but you could do this with the Panthers too, Dallas too. There is skill everywhere in the lineup, and when you're Minnesota and you're giving, huge contract extensions to guys who, in my opinion, don't have a lot of that scoring skill, and you force Kaprizov to carry the team, it doesn't always work out. So I think the stats look worse than they probably could if he had a little bit more help.
All right, and help me lastly with this. So Kaprizov plays in a hockey hotbed market, the state of hockey, St. Paul, and XL Energy Center, 9 to noon has learned. Alexander Barkov plays in Sunrise, Florida, which is basically Fort Lauderdale, for maybe the best overall team in the NHL, in the Florida Panthers. And, I haven't looked at the odds, but I would guess they're favored to win the Stanley Cup. I was reading some clips from their coach, Paul Maurice, talking about how his Panthers handled winning the Eastern Conference against the Rangers. And it's just like we're all business, man, because we expected to be in the Stanley Cup. And, a lot of people say things like that when they get to championships, but some of them are lying straight through their teeth, where, the expectation may have been to get there, but they realistically may not have been good enough to get there. So with Alexander Barkov, who would you rather have and why? Barkov or Kaprizov? That's tough, huh?
I know. I'm going to show my bias and say Kaprizov, but they're both world class, so you can't go wrong. And I think them getting to the finals last year is going to prove very helpful this time around.
Great point, brother. Barkov, the Selke winner, by the way, best defensive forward in the NHL. All right, thanks for pinch hitting, my brother. And 9 to noon returns to Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center tomorrow for some more good times via Minnesota Vikings mini camp. And I'm Paul Allen. Thank you for listening. The program is next. Have a good day.
Good times.